Welcome back to the Unus Imperium tournament, the tournament where some poor bastard is forced to play Vikings and another poor bastard is forced to play Celts for every single game they're going to play in it, until they get knocked out in round 1. Anyway, we're here in Unus Imperium, our players nominating a civ, or being nominated to a civ, I'm not quite sure which, but they've got to play it in every game in the tournament that they play. So we've got T90 official, Clickbait Master 9000 of AoEII here in the blue trunks on Portuguese. He's up against Nahuel today, who I believe is actually one of the tournament organisers. Pretty involved with the South American tournament community, to my knowledge. I think I've got that correct. I hope I haven't got that wrong. I hate being wrong. I like being right. Like most people. So on the top side of the map we've got Nahuel. That's the Italians, orange trunks. These guys, nice cab civilization. And they're also going to have the access to Fighteria. I don't know if that's going to be all that useful because it does lock up 20 population. But bearing in mind, it does give you a route to infinite resources. Man, you ever play the bot game set to 500 population and then just put 100 pop in Fighteria? I do. Or I used to anyway. Oh, sorry, I had that wrong. It's T90 in Portuguese, and he's in the blue trunks. The Nahuel, Italians. So he's going to have cheaper age ups, cheaper dock techs, which will be really useful, cheaper fishing ships. Gunpowder units cheaper as well. So I think that means cheaper cannon ships, which will be really, really useful going forward. So I have to wonder whether or not T90 is going to throw down a cheeky Fighteria or not once he gets to Imperial, or if he and Nahuel even get to Imperial. I mean, the thing with these sorts of water maps is that they either can be decided in Castle Age or they can go on forever. Because our players are going to be fairly limited in the amount of resources on their starting island. They're going to have to eventually transition to the central one, but they'll have the resources to get a town centre and a castle, at least. And with the wooden gold they've got here, they'll be able to do a bit of a back and forth with their warships, but the Italians play a nice text there. So you have cheaper cheaper fishing ships and cheaper warship techs. But there are stronger warships here for T90's naval potential. So he's going to have extra health on them. Oh, and he's even got an extra armor tech for the warship. So I think the Portuguese has definitely got the stronger warships, but the Italian player might be able to leverage his cheaper eco and cheaper tech parts to give himself the advantage early on. And of course the game might not even be decided by that, because you've got to try and maintain a hold of the central island. So there's going to be 5 relics here, a lot of gold, a reasonable amount of stone, plenty of wood to take you into the late game. And players at this level are often so fixated on maintaining control of the water that they forego actually really getting a lot of fishing done on it, because they're so busy having to produce the warships and fight one another. You never really see more than like maybe 5 fishing boats, because chances are the moment you fall behind on warships, you're going to lose all your fishing ships anyway as well. So that's another big problem. Unless you can somehow get on the center island and establish some weird dock positions that really force your opponent to have to chase you around the map with his warships, and it's pretty unlikely at this level. So it's sort of a gift and a curse, all these houses on the shore. It stops your opponent being able to sneak a transport ship in between line of sight points. But it also means that if you ever do fall behind the water, you will eventually have these buildings fall. I mean, it will save you farm space further in the island because, you know, you've got shit all space, for lack of better terminology here. You might be able to fit like a blacksmith and a market there safely. You still got to chop down that bloody tree that'll be in the way. And so, in terms of the bullshit water that our players get safely at the back of their bases, which didn't end up mattering last game I commentated, even though it was glaringly imbalanced, if it had have been utilised. Here it looks pretty balanced. It looks like there's only one school of fish here for Nahuel. Well, there's two here for T90, but they are... I think that one will be like, if you park a warship there, you should be able to harass that. So... a lot more even this game. Oh, there's another little pocket back there. Okay, so maybe T90 does have a cheeky bit of extra food here. Conversely, I think it does cut into the amount of island space you've actually got. Like, T90's landmass here, it's fucking tiny. Nahuel's, it is a bit of a risk because, like, it's one of these shitty little outcrops. So you can sort of hit things from every angle that are on it, but it does also mean he's got slightly more space here on the starting island, I think. And I mean, our players will really be looking to shift to the central island as soon as they can. So we're going to feudal age, got a couple of docks a piece per player. Well, I didn't need to say a piece and per player, that's a bit redundant, isn't it? But, actually we've got 3 docks, not 2. My math skills are failing me. So we'll have triple fire galley production versus, you guessed it, triple fire galley production and double bit axe. Finishing up there for Nahuel. So it looks like T90 is actually splitting up fire galleys. He wants to potentially harass Nahuel on either side here. Nahuel doing the same. We'll have 1 going to the right side, 2 going to the left side here. These right side ones, I think it's a slightly shorter engagement path, so these guys are going to meet slightly quicker than these guys over here. T90's ultimately covered more ground here, which is a gift and a curse. I mean, if you start winning the trade, you can hit your opponent, deal damage to his eco, and he's actually slipped a fire galley in here. Conversely, Nahuel gonna have an easier time backing up his ships. You know, if one has to retreat, he can send in another, freshly trained. T90 gonna force 4 fishing boats. Have to retask now. And Nahuel committing to another dock. So T90 only on the 3, Nahuel now up to 4. And like the annoying thing about this sort of coast is that it's a lot of coastline to protect for relatively little land gain, whereas T90, it's quite a nice amount of coast relative to the amount of land that he's actually got on the island. I'm not saying it's imba, but it's, well. So Castle Age on the way here for Nahuel. T90, Castle Age also on the way. Just a tad slower. So as long as he doesn't force any engagements, he should be right, even though his opponent will have slightly quicker fire ship upgrade. So fire galleys versus fire ships. It's an ugly trade. It's a bit like fire galley or war galley versus... I mean, sorry. War galley or fire ship versus fire galley. Not a very... I mean, versus regular galley. It's not a very even trade, is what I'm trying to say. Fighting Age 2 ship versus Age 3 ship, it is ugly. In fact, we're going to have war galley rather than fire galley, which is odd. He's not upgraded to fire ship. Is that a misclick? Surely that's a... Oh, there we go. He has got fire ship. Sorry, I misread it. I thought it was fire galley he was getting. I mean, I thought it was war galley he was getting, not fire galley. Fire ship, bloody hell. These confusing name conventions. Goes from galley to war galley, but it goes from fire galley to fire ship. Very confused. But even with the tech advantage here, Nahuel's really only just starting to get some value here. He's going to kill a couple of ships. He's going to get 3. He's not going to get the 4th. Very nearly does get the 4th though. So Nahuel's fishing eco is actually, he's really growing at him. I'm impressed. He's up to 10 warships, man. I mean, sorry, not 10. 11 and fishing ships. Sorry. But T90 now has the fire ship upgrade and looks to be pushing him here on this right side. So this could get a bit dangerous, a bit dicey. T90 starting to recover that water eco as well. So the villager population's evening out. Neither player attempting to take the shores of the central island yet. Demo ships on the field, they're always devastating, but for whom? There's a demo ship here for T90 in the background. There's a lot of fishing ships now. T90 actually uses it just on the enemy demo ship rather than for taking out the fishing boats. I have to wonder if that's worth it. It takes the pressure off his own army. He doesn't have to worry about a warship as such, but it also means he doesn't get the opportunity to go in on some fishing boats. And so T90 gonna be able to push back Nahuel on the right side. Over on this left side, Nahuel able to keep fishing. Imp for Nahuel, castle for T90 still. Neither player... Oh, actually T90 just has landed on the shore, but it looks like only a single villager in the scout, just to make sure Nahuel's not there and to give himself, you know, a bit more dock space here, to get a little bit closer to his opponent's side of the map. Cut down on that travel time. Nahuel, a nice army here of the fire ships. I think he's got the bigger number count. Ooh, but not here for T90 on the way in to back this up. And Nahuel, his reinforcements actually cleaning up the fire ships at his dock. So, ooh, nice micro there from T90. Just making sure that the low fire ship eats that demo ship. So Nahuel probably would have been best off trying to re-micro that onto something else. Even if it gets shot and destroyed, it'll probably blow up in the midst of some other fire ships. Oh, and that's nice for T90. Some good splash. Nahuel a little bit scrappy here. And there's more demo ships in the midst. These things are like the banelings of AoE2 water. Another nice hit there for T90. So Nahuel, he's struggling because T90 is starting to take the shore. Nahuel's now one on the right side, but it'll be a little while before he can deal some good damage with that. So a lot of these fishing ships of Nahuel's are going to fall. T90's going to start pulling ahead on villager population for the first time in a while now. But Nahuel, this is meaning that we're fighting ever closer to his docks, so he's able to reinforce easier and easier, and he is going to be able to take that main island. He's keeping presence up on this right side, so T90's not able to send everything over here on the left. Whether or not it's costing Nahuel more than it's costing T90, I'm not too sure. But at the moment, T90 seems to continue to stream forward here from the left side of the migration island, and his position on the land's really improving here. In fact, I think he might have just seen these villagers. There we go, so he does manage to catch those villagers. Oh, this is nice. For Nahuel, he can probably get this fire ship and potentially... there's a repairer there for T90, he'll be able to clean that up, so some good awareness from him. What would otherwise be a bit tricky because he'd lose the ship and then potentially lose his fishing boats. Nahuel having to fight an uphill battle at the moment, sending some more ships in, but T90's castle is really going to prevent any form of fishing and control of this side of the water. And all it's going to take is another castle up here to really upset things. Nahuel able to get through the scout harass, dropping a villager, but he's got another one still alive. He's got his own scout there to defend things. T90 now pushing up on the right side once again, and Nahuel seems to be slipping further and further behind now. T90 only has the one town center on that island. Nahuel still one TC as well. More villagers getting funneled across. Bearing in mind, T90 doesn't have control of as many resources landing on this side of the island yet. I mean, it's still plenty for now, but Nahuel realistically could still take all of this. But he needs to win here on the water, and I don't know if he's going to be able to do so because T90 has a huge number of fire ships here, continuing to make an absolute mess of Nahuel's water economy and really restrict him to that starting island, while the organ gun now catching the villagers unable to finish off that castle. So this is going to be really rough for Nahuel unless he can get some military up on this island. Scout cav going down. Nahuel does sneak the barracks, but it's looking very dicey at the moment. Come on, big fella. I know you've got it in ya. T90 continuing to take out a lot of this water. And now he's chasing the villagers to the far end of the island. I think Nahuel might be restricted to this little island, and it's starting to look really dire unless he can get like a forward castle and muster up the navy he needs to assault this main island here. And he's going to have to probably land with some military now as well, because you know, there's organ guns here, which will also make it tough to land because they can shoot at the transport ship. So Condottiero going to try and take out the organ guns, but it may be a little bit too little too late. T90 already up to 65 villager pop at the moment. Still only on the one town center, so I think it's largely just from sniping vills and being ahead on the fishing ship count. And another villager going to go down. We've got another monastery here for Nahuel because he really wants to try and get a hold of some of these relics. I think T90 largely just chasing around the map at this point. T90 going to Imperial. Nahuel already there, but it's been a big investment. A little bit cheaper for our Italian player than for the other civs, but even still, GG, Nahuel not able to really leverage his Imperial Age for any techs, and T90 takes the game.